people in this room know more about the state of the economy than I do, that I have always been, for my investment business, we used to do what was called the micro driving the macro. So we did not have any better model for predicting non-farm payrolls, core PCE, that, because I think a lot of that is this. But what we did was we went out, we talked to banks, we talked to businesses, we constructed a mosaic from the bottom up. And I can tell you that there is a little uncertainty, but that in general, the companies that I've spoken to, the people who have come, the CEOs who have come into Treasury, tell me that the economy is very solid. We got some very good jobs numbers last Friday. So, I think that we are in pretty good shape.
Thank you. Tariffs. It's been about a week since the president announced his plan. The reciprocal tariffs went into effect last night. And I know, and I've been reading and listening to you and other administration officials who've said that depending on how some other nations react, those could come down or those could go away. So if you could share a little bit on, have you been encouraged with the response from other nations to the administration? Has it been what you've been hoping for? What's that outreach from across the globe been like, and how are those negotiations going?
Well, Rob, I will tell you that on Wednesday, after the president gave his address in the Rose Garden, as I was doing media, I was out telling other countries, don't retaliate. And I think what a lot of people are missing here is that the levels that were put out last Wednesday are a ceiling. So if you don't retaliate, that is the ceiling. So we've been overwhelmed with the response to come to DC and negotiate. So President Trump on Monday had a very good call with the Japanese Prime Minister. He had a very good call with the President of Korea yesterday. We're seeing a delegation from Vietnam. So I think we have about 70 negotiations lined up. I'm not planning on going anywhere for Easter. And I believe that I had obviously been providing advice on the tariffs, working more on the tax bill that we'll talk about. And now I'm going to take a lead negotiating role in a lot of the tariffs, starting with the Japanese delegation. But in terms of escalation, unfortunately, the biggest offender in the global trading system is China. And they're the only country who's escalated. And I can tell the rest of the world that, I'm not sure whether it was the Prime Minister or the Economic Minister in Spain made some comments this morning, oh, well, maybe we should align ourselves more with China. That would be cutting your own throat, because I can tell you that these Chinese exports that the U.S. tariff wall is going to keep out, that China, for all of you who can remember that Disney movie of the brooms carrying the buckets of water, that is the Chinese business model. It never stops. They just keep producing and producing and dumping, and it's going somewhere. And I think, Rob, at the end of the day, that we can probably reach a deal with our allies, with the other countries that have been long-term. They've been good military allies, not perfect economic allies, and then we can approach China as a group.
Yeah. One other question on news of the day, and then we'll go into regulation and some other Treasury agenda items. So you're the point person for the President of the United States on the spending bill, the budget, and the tax bill. How are those negotiations going right now? Is this something that'll get done for the August recess? How's that going to play out?
So it's going better than expected. I may live to regret that remark. I understand you're seeing Congressman Arrington today. I would urge him for tell him that you want certainty on taxes for yourselves, for your customers. And look, the reason I came out from behind my desk, I'm not sure what a budget hawk looks like, but I see one when I look in the mirror. And one of the reasons I came out from behind my desk was this incredible fiscal profligacy and irresponsibility that the last administration did, 6.7% deficit to GDP, we have never seen when we weren't at war or in a recession, and they just spent. So what we're trying to do is bring down government spending, they right-size the federal workforce, and then they, on the other side, as I just described, through safe, smart, and sound financial deregulation, make it possible for you all to re-leverage the private sector. So we want to deleverage the government sector, re-leverage the private sector, but we can't do it all at once. And I tell these congressmen, I tell the senators, look, our fiscal situation is a 350-pound, 2-pack a day smoker on the ICU table, and he or she is not going to get off that table and run the Ironman. And we're going to get on a treadmill. We are going to bring the deficit to GDP hopefully down by 1% every year and get it back toward the long-term target of 3.5%. So and look, I understand why some of these congressmen, some of these senators, they are rabid and like, we got to do it now, but we can't do it all at once, or that will cause a recession. What will keep us from having a recession is making sure that the tax bill doesn't expire, adding back 100% depreciation, and then adding some of President Trump's agenda, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime,